So something big is happening in Washington Commanders world, and fans aren't even talking about it yet. We are talking about the $4 billion even stadium, complete reshape of the roster, a draft that could define the next decade of this franchise, the Brandon Aiyuk question. What is the Commanders? What are we doing? Are we building a contender, or are we setting ourselves up for another letdown? Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 1 Point Safety Show with myself, Scott Hartley, and my glorious co-host, Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right, bud?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. How about yourself?
All good. Yeah, absolutely perfect. Another busy week, but yeah, it's all good, mate. It's all good in the hood, as they say. We'll just pop up our sponsors, as always. Please skip this 52 seconds if you don't want to listen to it, and we'll be back in a second. So here's a quick word from our sponsors. We are Dunstable Town FC's Talk of the Town podcast sponsor this season. If you're into non-league football, go over and give them a follow on Talk of the Town podcast. You can also go to our other sponsor, which is myoddballs.com. Oddballs produce scarves, hats, boxer shorts, you name it, all in funky styles. There's 50% off at the moment on their store. Go ahead, go and have a look at them. It's myoddballs.com. Also, if you're into the writing side of Washington Commanders and you want to have an interaction with some of the other podcasts out there, you can go to bleedingburgundy.com. Go over, have a look, check their website out, and it will all be good for you all. Thank you, everybody, and on with the pod. Yeah, thanks to all our sponsors, as always. Hi, Rod. Thank you for being with us, mate. Really appreciate you being here. We'll get into the meat and the gravy, if you want, Scouse, of this show, which is the big news on Aiyuk that fans didn't expect. Obviously, it's a bit of a holdout at the minute with the 49ers. Seems like what they're trying to do is hold him ransom, hold him hostage. They want somebody to trade for that contract, which is absolutely wild. And to be honest with you, I don't see anybody doing it. I think this is a dead in the water thing right now. I'm not sure. It's the elephant in the room. We have a wide receiver. We don't really have a clear wide receiver two that can go next to Terry McLaurin. Obviously, Terry coming off the injury doesn't help matters. Is he really truly a wide receiver one now, coming to the age 31 season? And this is something that could potentially hold the entire offense back. I mean, what do you think? Is wide receiver two, Scouts, our biggest need right now? Are we overrating that need? And the thoughts on the Aiyuk situation?
Well, I mean, are we overseeing it or overthinking it? I think a little bit. I think, is Aiyuk a good player? Sure. He would be very good wide receiver two for us. So I can see why as fans would want him, why as AP would want him. It's understandable. I'm not happy with the way Niners are acting, but I understand a little bit what they're trying to do. They don't want to release him for free, obviously, because that means that they get hit with a massive cap hit and dead cap hit, and then also they'll get killed with that guy coming back to haunt them potentially, right? So they want to get rid of this contract as best they can. So that's why they're saying they'll even take a seventh. But as you say, the contract's crazy. It's $30 million plus per season. No one's paying that for a guy who's coming off an ACL. Yeah, even though it was technically 14 months ago or something like that, what it was originally. And he is fit and available to play. But Niners have been funny with him ever since he signed that contract. No, they're making shit up as well about him. You know, that he wasn't turning off for training, and when he was, they're flat out lying to the media. Flat out lying to other people to get out of this contract. I just think it's a piss poor play from the Niners. Yeah, they made the mistake by giving him that big contract, but now you got to sit there and take the pain. You know what I mean? You made that decision. You fucked up. Now you got to pay the price for that. End of story. So now he wants to leave, and he doesn't want to go anywhere else besides play with Jaden. So for us, that's a winner. We've got all the leverage. We've just got to sit out and wait it out. Now the problem is, the Niners keeping him hostage, like you mentioned, or hold on to him forever. What they're trying to do, they're trying to mess up our strategy of what we're going to do in the draft or other things. Because the longer you can keep hold of him, well, then eventually we've got to start thinking, are they ever going to release him? They might not even release him at all. Mm-hmm. If no one's going to offer a draft pick, they might not release him before the draft. So then you're running into May, you're running into June, then you're thinking, is this actually going to happen? So then that puts doubt in the back of the mind of AP, and that kind of messes up our wide receiver strategy going into the draft. Do we look at a wide receiver 1 going into, or wide receiver 2 in the first round of the draft this year, or do we look at something else? And if we had Aiyuk, I think we'd know where we're going. But if we haven't got Aiyuk, we don't know he's definitely coming because we don't know if he's definitely going to be released. So that just causes us some indecision. And I think that's what the Niners are trying to do. I think they're just trying to fuck us over a little bit as long as they can, try and mess us up a bit, even though it's not really our fault. Even though it's not our fault.
Totally.
Between them and Aiyuk, really, that's their problem. But that's what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? That's what I think anyway.
I know, yeah. We'll get Rod's take. Niners want something out of the deal. If they don't have him before the draft, can't see him coming. Yeah, I agree with you, Rod. I think that
you can't force him to stay there because the problem is that they voided his guaranteed money because of so-called he never showed up for training, he wasn't available, blah, 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 blah.
It was the rehab side, wasn't it?
Yeah, rehabbing away from the training facility, which people were saying he was actually in the building. Some play.
I heard George Kittle saying that on a podcast.
That he was there. So he was there. So it wasn't. So Niners have been lying. That's what I'm trying to say. Niners have been lying about him to the media about and that to try and break his contract. So then they don't have to pay him the guaranteed money. Now, okay, 1, that's naughty, but 2,
oh my God,
what are you going to do this year? Like, you can't just keep him on your books and don't pay him anything if you're not going to play him. You see what I mean? Like, because he's got no guaranteed cash there. So and you can't say, well, we're physically withholding you from playing for our team. Surely that's got to break some fucking sort of.
Well, I'm looking at the contract here, Scouse, and it's 1.2 million base salary, a $3.767 million signing bonus. There's an option bonus on here of 9.5 million, a workout bonus of 100 grand, and his cap hit is 14.6. But then the problem you have with this contract, if you even traded for him, is next year's cap hit is 41.5 million. The year after, it's 43.5 million. So there isn't anybody that's going to sign him on this current deal that he has right now. Now, the issue you do have here is, and I think this is why he will get released, and I think it's all about a little bit of time, and it's about waiting. So come the 1st of April, he is due that $9.5 million and an extra bonus as well. So it works out to be about $11 million that he's due off the Niners.
But would he be eligible for that bonus if they've stopped him getting his guaranteed cash for this year?
Yes, because that's from previous. It's not guaranteed cash this year. It's guaranteed cash from last year that he's voided out of the deal completely.
Voided this upcoming years?
No.
I thought
he's due that option bonus irrespective, because I was listening to some insiders on NFL Network, wherever it was, talking about it, and Adam Schefter was talking about it as well on Pat McAfee, saying that he is due this basically it's almost $11 million. Now, there's no way in the world the 49ers are going to pay $11 million to a guy who's not even going to potentially be on their team, irrespective of what he's doing. So I think he gets released because they're entitled to release him on probably the 31st of March. It's kind of where I'm looking at him going to be, right, you are a free agent now, off you go. According to Spot Track, obviously his cap hit supposedly this year is 12 mil. With incentives, you could probably get to around 14, 15 mil. Now, for a guy who was over 1,000-yard receiver 2 years ago, who's an all-pro, you could say, you know what, yeah, that's a great move. He's still young, wants to play with Jaden, fair enough. But you are running a risk here. We all know what it's like. You know, especially what it's like when people are coming off an ACL, what they're going to run like, what they're going to move like. Do not expect, even if we do sign him, to have this all singing, all dancing, amazing wide receiver. If he can get you the same numbers as what Debo got, then that's fine by me. You know what I mean? I'm quite comfortable with that. With the upside that if he stays healthy and his head's right, he's going there. The biggest problem with Aiyuk is what is his mental headspace like? Wide receivers are divas. We know that. You know that. They're all the same. They all have to have that little bit of edge. Do you know what I mean? The best ones do anyway. But it's, is he too much to handle? Because some of this off-season shit, and for a guy who voids that amount of money, it was $26 million, who just says, I don't need that.
He's lost a lot of money from this. And I don't think a lot of it's his fault. I think Niners are trying to do him dirty. I really do.
But really would you be giving that up, or would you be like, no, I'm staying around. I'm doing everything that you're telling me to do, so you have to pay me. You know what I mean? It just makes me think, what happens in a situation. There is going to, obviously, we don't know the ins and outs. There's going to be a situation between what the 49ers are telling people and what the media are saying and what Brandon Aiyuk's saying. There's three sides to this almost, but Adam Peters is going to know everything that's gone on. Don't get it twisted. John Lynch will have been on the phone to him saying, look, this dude's a head case, or actually, you know what, we know he didn't want to play here. We can't get it done, blah, 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 blah. They'll have had them conversations. I'm pretty certain they'll have had them conversations. But I just don't know what to do with Brandon Aiyuk, whether you sign him, whether you don't sign him. It's just a mess.
I think you do. I think you wait for them to be released. I think nothing happens until that happens, because at the end of the day, I'd say no one's touching that contract with a barge pole. There's just nobody. Forget it. Forget a seventh rounder, because I've seen it on Twitter, seen it on loads of different social media sites. Oh, why don't we just offer McCaffrey and a fourth or something stupid like that? I'm like, why would you want to? No, why would you even want to trade anything for this guy? It's not cool, because we've got the leverage. We don't need to give anything up for this guy. So when he becomes available, and he will become available, because otherwise, I didn't know he was guaranteed that cash. I thought he lost his
guaranteed.
But maybe it was last year's he lost. But if he is guaranteed, say, 12 mil this year, well, they're not going to give him that if he's not going to play. So as you say,
I've just looked back there again. It was 26 million he was due last year.
It was last year, was it? At 26? I thought it was this year coming up. Okay, so okay. So
it's 12 million. It's 12 million. It was 12 million salary, and that's right. So 12 million salary and 14 million option bonus.
Wow. So you lost both of that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And again, you see, I don't think all of it is his fault. Sure. So maybe some of it is. Maybe he wasn't there for every single mandatory meeting. Maybe he wasn't there for those things. So you do get fined, don't you? It's natural. If you don't go to the mandatory stuff, you do get fined. It happens in the NFL all the time. That, but obviously, ultimate punishment there from the Niners is to avoid everything, the whole year's worth of deal. So to do that, it's really going to alienate the player. So you've burnt the bridge straight away. As soon as you've done that, that's it. They're done. You know that's not getting fixed. That relationship is not getting fixed ever again. So you better just cut your losses and feel the pain. You made the mistake. You're going to get punished for it. That's just what it is. You lose him and you get hit with a massive dead cap. Yeah, next 2 years' time you'll be fine. And there will be a post one June 1st cut, because then you can spread it over 2 years rather than one, which makes it easier for them. So I understand that option, and there will definitely be that.
The dead cap, if they cut him right now, as in today or say tomorrow, it would be 26 million.
So dead cap hit 26.
Yeah. So if you want to release him now, the dead cap hit for the 49ers is 26 million. So realistically, if you're a post June 1st cut, that brings it down to 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you normally tend to half it, don't they? That's how they split over 2 years, don't they? That's how they kind of do it. I just think this guy's just done probably what a soccer player would have done, who's forced as well.
Hold down, yeah.
I think that's all it is. He didn't want to come training regularly for them. Okay, and to be fair, I was looking as well how far he lived away. Where he's actually from in California. He actually is from California.
Okay.
Yeah, he lives literally a 45-minute drive away from San Fran. So it's not like he lives miles away where you're thinking, oh, he's the other side of the country, and he didn't want to be at San Fran for training rehab purposes. He literally lives about an hour away. So it's not a big thing for him where he's actually from originally. Unless he's moved out somewhere else, but where he's from originally is a small town, but it's like an hour west of San Fran, and it's just like, east of San Fran, and it's just like, mate, like if you couldn't be asked to come to some of those meetings, there's definitely reasons for that, or training sessions, whatever it is that he missed. It's just kind of, there's definitely more to it that we're not knowing about, and I think
100%.
Aiyuk has done really well here not to come out in the media and start saying stuff, because at the moment he's borderline being slandered. I mean, we don't know all the shit that's going on. All I know is that George Kittle has called out the Niners because basically they're calling him a liar. Kittle called him a liar because he saw him. He saw them in the training facilities. He said he was ready to work. He's ready to play at that time, and they didn't want to know.
Kittle even said, "Look, if he's such a bad teammate, he said he's texted me saying happy birthday." You know what I mean? And you're like, okay, what I mean? He's clearly not like. Is he a malcontent? Yeah, is he a malcontent? Probably. Do I condone what he done speeding outside the Niners? All of his Instagram live shit that he's got going on. I'm not interested in any of that. I don't want to see that. You want to see professionals. You want to see people playing for your team who, take it seriously.
You also want to be there. They want to be there, though.
That's true. I mean? Could he take it seriously? And is a change of scenery something that you think, this is what we need? I don't know, mate. I think it's a risk, mate.
The scenery, and say it's out of California. It's out from where he's from and where he lives, and probably all his friends who might be in his ear. You know what I mean? And then he's got a couple of guys that was at Washington. Obviously, every time you see a player now, they're all like JD's best friend. Like, it's like JD's got like so many best friends. It's unreal, hasn't he? You got Aiyuk, Rashad White. All these guys are coming through. Oh yeah, I'm his best friend. It's like, mate, you can only have one true best friend. So who is it? Who is it, bro? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's so like, but it's cool that players want to come and play just because Jaden. So. If you couldn't say, he will. I think he will eventually come to us. I just think it's a matter of time, and I think for a contract scenario, you've got to protect your club as well. So AP's got to be smart here as well. He's going to have to be, a 1 year prove it deal, or 1 year with another extension of a 1 year option if he's done quite well, or something like that. And then after that, then you can give him a bigger contract. Because by that second season, if he's had a full season of play, you'll see the best of Aiyuk again, and you might see him back to a wide receiver 1 level. So that's where then I'm thinking, okay, that's when you start paying the guy because he's going to be a wide receiver 1 then. You see what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for 2 years down the line. Useful now, hopefully, touch wood, as you say, hopefully he does as much as Debo. Maybe a bit better if we can. I'm hoping there will be better because we've got better players on offense now. But we'll see how it goes. But I think he will be here. I think it'll just be later on. I think it'll be probably May. Class the post-June quarter, whatever it is. And but again, I think it'll be a 1 year deal. I really do. Prove it.
Totally agree. Well, we'll start off with the off-field then, mate, because the Commanders are making headlines at the moment with the proposed $4 billion stadium. We're talking...
This keeps going up, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. $3 billion, then it was $3.5 billion. That's $4 billion.
$2.8 billion, now it's $4 billion. You're like, fuck, man, this is some serious money. This
cost of oil, petrol, and steel, mate.
You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
Yeah, but evening, Will. Evening, Scott. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate you. So 70,000 seat Dome Stadium with potential opening of 2030. But the real controversy right now is parking garages. 11 stories tall. So do you like the idea, First Scouts, of a domed stadium for Washington?
Oh, 100%. I think that's the way you've got to go nowadays. Of course, I would love a retractable roof, personally, if we could get it. But it's unlikely you're going to get that. So get going for a dome, then because you're going to need that for the next level things. It isn't just about the football match. You know what I mean? It's about concerts. It's about other things, So it's got to be a 24/7 kind of building, if that makes sense, to make it worthwhile financially. It's all cool having a nice building and a nice stadium, but it isn't just a football stadium. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be. It's got to be
concerts, Super Bowls, everything.
It's got to be multi-story. It's got to be multifaceted, and that will be the case. So you've got to have a roof for that. Personally, I would still like us to play outdoors. But I know that Super Bowls don't go to outdoor stadiums unless it's in a nice nice part of the country, weather-wise in February time. So that's why it's always in California and stuff like that, if it's going to be outdoors, or most of the time it's indoors if it goes anywhere else. So we know what we have to get it. We have to get a dome if we want to host a Super Bowl. That's just facts. So it's going to be a dome. I think it'll be cool, but me personally, I like best of both. I want to be greedy. I want best of both. I want a retractable roof. So on game day, you can open it if you wanted to. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't. It's going to be a dome, I think. I don't think it'll be anything else. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the renders that have come out. I'm happy with the designs that they're putting through. It looks really nice. That like almost see-through glass looks amazing. No matter what you look at, and when you drive into,
I like the little studs coming down the side or the outside of it, because it looks similar to like some of the buildings in DC, doesn't it? With all the big pillars. Exactly. Well, I do like the way they've done that. I mean, that's pretty cool.
And it's just like if you're driving into the stadium, you're coming in from either side. It's there. It's on the horizon. It's the main thing that you can see. You've come over the top, and it's all up there. You go there. It is straight in front of you. Yeah, 11 stories up for car parks with 8,000 spaces. Bit of controversy here about where people are going to park, what they're going to do. Are you bothered about 11 stories up car parks that are 8,000?
I mean, the only problem you're going to get there is trying to get out. I mean, because it's multi-story. You only got like even if you 2 or 3 entrances and exits. You're not going to. There's not too many you can do there, so it's going to take you a long time to get out of those. Especially if you're stuck on the 10th or 11th floor. You know what I mean? It's like it's pretty brutal. You're going to be there a few hours, But it
costs you hundreds of dollars as well to get a parking spot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I know the guys now who drive there, trying to get out of there now. It could take them 2 hours to get out because of the queues getting out, unless you're in red zone. If you're in red zone, you don't get out quickly, So, I mean, they might try and do something similar again, a quick offshoot somewhere, for like the most expensive part of the car parking, So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they do it. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, because there is a lack of space, like we know there's space there for the stadium, and there is going to be a little bit of greenery around there, but there's going to be like hotels and restaurants and stuff like that.
Residential bits as well.
That takes space, and that's all that space. So realistically, what's left? You're going to get the very dregs of the land, and the dregs of the land is going to be for the multi-story car parks. But you say you can't go too high because DC has a certain limit anyway. Nothing's very high in DC.
Yeah, it's 13 stories is the highest.
Is it that high? I didn't even think it was that high. I thought it was lower than that. But again, it's still quite low. That's very low compared to, say, you look at New York and shit, the skyscrapers they've got. So DC is always very low, and having an eyesore like a multi-story car park isn't it? No, it isn't. It isn't a good look. It doesn't look good. You know what I mean? That's pretty shit, really. But there has to be space saving somewhere to get all this cram all this stuff in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to me, mate, it feels like more than a stadium build. This obviously going back to RFK, going back to the roots of where this team came from. It's a full rebrand of the franchise, though. That's what this is. It's a new era, new identity. Trying to move past the years of dysfunction that we've had. Time and time again, and now we're here, new ownership. New things at the helm. By this time, it'd probably be new head coach. It's obvious. New general manager, whatever else, going into a brand new stadium. So I am looking forward to it, and we'll wait and see. I mean, I think people will transit there anyway. I don't think there's a real problem with car parking. We'll find somewhere to tailgate. People talking about that. I mean, I did see something about tailgating. There were specific areas to do that as well, but we'll get to that. Do you know what I mean? When we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
I just think you should be able to get boats. I just think you should really have to tailgate on boats.
Amazing. That would be amazing.
How cool will that be? Just having this little, just up and down the river for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like for a couple of hours. That's class. You know what I mean? Like that'd be awesome. I think that should be the next thing they should do, because they could technically do that. Because they are going to run out of space. No, I mean, like for the fans and stuff for the outside, and I see the tailgating. There is going to be a lack of space. There just is, just facts. Because there is going to be hotels, there is going to be apartments, there is going to be things like that. So it's going to be, it's unfortunately going to be a few horrible, ugly buildings there. But hopefully they can make it look nice rather than just horrible 11 stories, multi-story car parks. But let's see how that goes. Just like what Scott G mentions there, if you're as an outside visitor, if you ever go in there, you're hoping to stay somewhere in the area so you can just walk back to the hotel, visit the restaurants on the way. And that's exactly what those hotels are going to be for. That's going to be around there. Because at the moment, there's not a lot there, is there? I mean, there's a metro station. That's about it. I mean, there really is not a lot there at the moment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You better be armed hanging around there. You know what I'm saying at the moment. So it's like
they're both spot on here, Rod and Scott. Yeah, it's a visitors hub, new stadium, hotels, bars, fan zones, all that sort of stuff.
That's going to have to be, yeah, and that's what's going to be there along with some of these apartments. But that's
it's the same.
It's going to be a problem with the parking. It just is.
Oddly, it's the same. If you went to Madrid, you'll get it. If you go to Wembley or you go to Spurs or someone like that, you go to a game abroad, it's the same as what we've got out here. Really, you don't turn up at these stadiums and go, "Where's all the car parking? There's massive car parking everywhere." It's not there. I mean, you rock up, you're in the middle of a city. You know what I mean? And you've got to find your own area there. Apparently, Will's saying here a couple of those stories on the parking garage will be underground. Knowing DC and Baltimore. Okay, I mean, I can see that. I mean, you got to be careful how deep you go though, because it's right next to the river. You know what I mean? You got to really make sure that those foundations are solid, man. There's no leaks going to be getting in there, because literally the stadium's right next to it, isn't it? According to what it looks like on the forms, on the picture. Sorry. I mean, I'd say it's going to be real cool, man. Either way, it's a hell of a lot better than what we've got now, which is just basically fucking 40,000 parking bays around the stadium in the middle of nowhere. This is definitely going to be massive upgrades. So, we're all going to feel that pain though when we do go there. Prices for tickets, prices, just concessions, everything. It's just going to be ridiculous. But it'll be cool to go there, man. It really Let's transition and talk on about roster moves then. So the front office has been busy, led by Adam Peters. It hasn't just been busy, it's been very busy. What's interesting is how they've done it and how they have been busy. Re-signing Jeremy Reeves today, Scouse, special teams leader, locker room guy. He's got an extension through 2027. No details of his contract. Are you happy with Reevesy being back all-pro, Revo?
Well, that's it, mate. He's all-pro, isn't he? You don't let all-pros walk out the building, even if it was 2 years ago.
I know what you're saying, but I know what you're saying.
So yeah, man. I mean, Revo played a hell of a lot more than he should have really at safety last season because of injuries and stuff, And he did, and to be fair, he held his own. I mean, he got bent a couple of times, but most guys do on the DB end. They always do, especially when you got no pass rush like we don't have or we didn't have last season. So he's kind of, he's been solid for us, man. I mean, I'm happy with it. It's not going to be too expensive. It's going to be probably another 2-3 mil deal like I think he had last time or something like that. So I'm happy with it. He's a good leader as well.
He is a good leader. He's amazing special teams ace. That's exactly what you need. You don't want to lose that off specials as well. People forget about the specials side of it. And you're right, he did play a bit too more than we should do at safety last year. But evening, Yam. Thanks for being here, mate. Appreciate you for pulling up. Yeah, I mean, we've re-signed people. We're adding depth across the defense. That's the good thing. Like, Clavion Chason's in, low risk deal. But the good thing here is we don't have to stop with where we are at the moment. I mean, cap space wise, and this is not including a few of the contracts that we've heard. We haven't got Chris Paul's contract, which we'll get into Chris Paul in a minute. We haven't got the Ford signing there, Jerome Ford, and we haven't got the details exactly.
I had Paul for like 4 mil, something like that.
Something like that. We haven't seen the actual details of that yet. And then they haven't got on there also De'Ami Brown's contract, but again, it was told it was like $3 million deal or something. But cap space wise, at the moment, according to Spot Track and over the cap, we're at 53.145 million. So give or take 5 of these signings who we haven't got contract details on, a couple of mil here and there. You're probably looking at 10 to take off that, so probably 43. Take off your 12 for the draft. You're down to 31. Take off 10, probably got 20 mil. You know what I mean, to wangle realistically to spend. But what I have really, really noticed that is these contracts that we gave out.
That'd be Aiyuk's money, right?
Say again?
That'd be Aiyuk's money.
Yeah, it might. Well, it won't just be Aiyuk's money. Just no. You're looking at 1 year. Yeah, but you're looking at that and saying, at 15 mil. That's not what you take straight away off the cap hit. It's how you structure the deals.
It's only a 1 year deal, though. So how else would you do it unless you do like an avoid year? Well, you wouldn't do that.
What's guarantees? That's the problem, isn't it? It's what's the guarantee?
Yeah, that's what I mean. 15. I reckon 12 to 15 mil guaranteed. I reckon like that's the guarantee part of it.
I reckon it's 12 mil signing. Should have about I reckon we'd have about 20-ish mil, 25 mil to play with. But some of these deals that he structured and the way he structured it, I wanted to try and get into. I mean, did you see Dafe Owe's deal? How that's come out? I mean, 9.2 million cap hit this year. Ridiculous. Yes, it's a $96 million deal with a $4 million incentives to make it 100, but 9.2 this year. And then you look at Tunsil. Tunsil's now an $11.9 million cap hit, down from 22 million this year. So you're saving yourself money across the board.
This is last year horrific though. Tunsil's.
Yeah. Like, it's quite high. Yeah, so it's basically a 2-year deal. Same as Owe. Owe is a 2-year deal. They backloaded this contract, but what they have done on dead cap, when you look at it, is they've said to themselves, well, we're not going to hurt the franchise 2 years down the line when we know that Jaden's probably going to get his deal. We're at that stage and that level where we can, if it hasn't worked out, we can move away from him. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not expecting that to happen. I mean, I don't want to get to 2027, 2028 and be like, oh, well, we can get out of this deal now and it's all right. I want him to succeed. You know what I mean? We all want him to succeed. So it doesn't matter what goes on there. But I just think this front office has been absolutely cooking. And we've done really well.
I get it. And I understand, so the low down cap, so to create more cap room. I mean, and that's all well and good. But as I say, the end of this season, that's when Jaden's available for his contract extension after his third year.
His 5th year option. His 5th year option can be picked up next year.
But they will do 5th year option, but obviously they'll probably do an extension as well, because it'll be cheaper to do it now than do it in 2 years' time. You see what I mean?
Depends on where we're at now, what your season's like, doesn't it?
This the thing you see. If you're, as you're saying, if you're backloading Always contract, you're backloading some other guys' contracts that are like big contracts at the end. So in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, it's quite painful on the cap. That's when Jaden's thinking. That's when Jaden's going to be coming for negotiations. Do you know what I mean? So you're thinking. Yeah. So, do we have to lose one of Owe if Jaden gets his big dollar because the money's being backloaded, rather than now? It's time to front load it. While Jaden done his rookie deal, that's the whole point.
I know what you're saying. I get where you're coming from, but you can't speak to him until the end of this season, can you? Moving into next year?
No, not for his contract. No, you can't. No, it's after his third season.
Third season, yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, I think, was the last one to get one after his third season. I think that was kind of how it works. We probably could do it. I mean, I get where you're coming from. If you want to time up now, get it done. The other good thing, I suppose, at the end of this season, we've all talked about it already, but Terry's due $32 million.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen,
unfortunately.
So there's some money that you can save there. Kinlaw's option done. There's a $15 million saving. Daron Payne's off the books. There's $25 million saving. So actually, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things,
to make it happen next season,
there's $90 million we've just talked about straight away.
That's 70 there. So
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So if you include the 20 you've just talked about, there's 90 mil. You know what I mean? So it's not as if we're going to be hard up, against it. It's not. This is not the Raiders, where you suddenly gone, oh shit, we've backed out of a deal, we overspent, and now we've got to find $30 million for Max Crosby. It's a joke. That's a joke, by the way.
That's poor by Ravens. That, to be fair, they knew Max Crosby was coming off an injury, coming off a surgery only 8 weeks ago. You know what I mean? They should know what they were getting themselves into way before they offered 2 first-rounders. They just shit themselves. They went, oh no, we don't want him now because we could just get Hendrickson instead. It wouldn't want to save us our firsts. That's all he did. They just bottled it. There'd be nothing wrong with him thinking he was knee. He'd be ready by start of the season. So I don't get it, me.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. They clearly knew that Hendrickson was available, and but they maybe thought we're not going to get him, and then they've overpaid enormously for him. I mean, a 4-year deal, $122 million. What are you doing? That is wild for a 31-year-old. I mean, I get it. Who's also coming off an injury as well. But it's the do you want to give up the 2 first-round picks? That's the biggest issue, isn't it? That is
because Crosby was on that kind of corn anyway. That's what you got to think about. That the Ravens were going to be giving that kind of money anyway. for the guy. The difference is Crosby's 4 years younger. So that's the difference. But then you're thinking, and that's probably where they're thinking with the guy's knee, as in the doctors who have been a bit shady. It's like, I don't think this guy's knee is going to hold up 4 years, 5 years, 6 years that you expected it to. It might last maybe 1 or 2, but then you'd be fucked. You see what I mean? So, and they're probably thinking, shit, two first rounders for only 2 or 3 years worth of Max Crosby. Now it's not worth it. And I get it. I get it from their team side of things, but it was a shady thing to do because they promised them that they was going to do the 2-pick swap. So Raiders went hard. If Raiders hadn't done anything, it wouldn't be that bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, oh, it's fine. We'll keep Max. Everything's good. Do you know what I mean? But now it's like, no, we had to replace him fast, get the guys fast, and spend a fortune, as you know. And now they're like, fuck, now we're 30 million over the cap because of you fools pulling out. Now, I think that should be a fine. I think that should be a fine on the Ravens. I really do.
I know what you're saying.
They're doing shitty things like that. They should use 30 million to their cap and give it to them.
The problem you've got, mate. The problem you've got is until the season opens, the deal is signed and a physical is passed. Ain't no deal. Ain't no deal.
Yeah.
Nothing's permanent. That's why you see all these people who are coming out on the tampering day. Oh my God, we signed this person. Not always. People back out of deals, mate. And the Ravens have done it twice now. So
yeah, I mean they've done it. It also was what happened in our favour once, didn't it? It was the running back who went to Buffalo and he changed his mind. Stay with us.
Yeah, who was that? Who was that actually?
What's his name? Got it. No. I'm sure the guys will know in the chat.
Yeah, it was a running back. You're right. He did decide to. He did decide to go. Anyway,
yeah. Well, McKissick.
JD McKissick. Thank you, Will. Yeah. Oh, God.
The chat's always sort us out. Yeah. So it can happen. It's just a case of, I just think it's shady that what's happened is that one, they haven't learned the lesson before the Ravens. As you say, this is the second time done something like this, but also they've also put the Raiders in the shit. And that's naughty, that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know you understand you want to be better than the team and stuff, but when you've given your word should mean something. Do you know what I mean? Especially
words you bond normally.
Your words you bond. You know what I mean? Who are you if you haven't got your word? And unfortunately, they've lost a lot of respect. I think across the league, I think they lost a lot of respect with the Ravens because of that.
I agree. We'll get into who we've signed since we last came on the pod. Then there's only a few here, but we'll go through it. Dyami Brown is back. Oh my God, what are the Jags doing? I mean, I'll get it in the neck here off the wife because she's obviously a Jags fan. But this is now the second time they have signed someone for a $10 million deal from Washington. So they took C-Rod offers $11 million over 2 years for C-Rod. Dyami Brown went to the Jags last year on a $10 million deal. We've got him back for $3. It's just it's wild. I'm not that
squad, man. You know what I mean?
As a wide receiver 6, I'm not bothered. But it's just bottom of the roster guy at the moment for me. I mean, the thing is, we've played this tune before, and we know what he's got. Lots of people out there are big supporters of Dyami, and they're sitting there saying, "Oh, it's a great signing. It's this." For me, he showed up in 4 games. 4 games over 4 seasons.
Yeah, and so he had about 3 or 4 really good catches, important catches in the playoffs. That's all he had in his whole 4 years that he was here. I know he's wrong. I'm not knocking the guy for producing in the big stages, because that's what that is. But it's kind of, he got his 10 mil, he got his reward, and now he's back to his normal level again. He didn't do well at the Jags, so they ended up cutting him. And and $3 million is probably where he should be at. He's not a stud. He's not even a really good deep threat, really, being honest. So it's kind of
speedy.
Yeah, he's still got some speed, but he's not taking the top off anybody, though, is he? He's not like the Sean Jackson or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of
speed. Shaheed or someone like that. You know what I mean?
Pure lightning. He's not that kind of dude either. I mean, I think Jalen Lane does Dyami Brown's job better already, and I think there's loads of improvement needed from the guy we just signed. What's his name?
Dyami Brown.
No, not Dyami Brown. Big improvement from the other guy. Jalen Lane. Sorry, Jalen Lane. Forgot where I was going there. So I think Jalen Lane is better than Dyami Brown already.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with that at all.
he still needs improvement as well because he just quite a lot of drops last season, and he'll do a lot better next season.
So the other one we signed, I think,
I didn't understand the Army Brown signing. To be fair, because you don't need.
I don't understand. I don't understand it either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do, but you say that,
but it's not the same. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know what you're saying. I get it. Is it a bad signing? No, you can always improve in your room of wide receivers.
Of course,
as a wide receiver or a wide receiver 6, wide receiver 7, that's fine. Mate, when me and you were sitting in Madrid looking at each other saying, why the fuck is River Craycraft and Chris Moore catching passes?
And Robbie Chosen and all these dudes.
That's what I'm saying. So would I be happier with Diami Brown? Yes. Luke McCaffrey needs to improve, absolutely. But there's your return man. You know, then you've got a punt returner in Jalen Lane. And then it's like, right, okay, what else have we got? We haven't got a wide receiver 2. We have a wide receiver 1 in some respects with Terry, but we don't know because of injuries.
He's always been a 1 man. I know people don't rate him, but he's always been a 1. He's proven it with the shit in the league, mate. He's a wide receiver 1, man. I don't care what anyone says. And then obviously you got Traylon Burks as well, who for me.
Will's saying there Diami Brown's better than Burks at the moment. I don't agree with that at all. I'm sorry, Will. I think Burks is as a former first round pick. Yes, he's a first round pick. I think he's
way more than Diami. Burks is way better.
I think so. He just needed to stay healthy.
You can't stay healthy. That's the problem. You can't stay fit. That's the only problem with Burks.
I don't know if we talked about it last week. Was Rashad White? Did we talk about Rashad White last week?
I'm unsure.
We might have done, might not have. But anyway, Rashad White is here in the run. Very, very good deal. $2 million. It's a nothing deal. Trent Scott's back.
That's so cheap. That's unreal for Rashad White.
Trent Scott's back on a vet minimum, 1.487 million. We've also signed Van Jefferson on the vet minimum. Again, 1,000-yard receiver, but that was 3 years ago. He was okay when he was with the Rams.
More like 5 years.
Well, it might be actually. You might be right.
I think it was Rams on the Super Bowl. So
yeah, it was. It was the Super Bowl run as well. So Christ, that 5 years ago, Scouts.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, 2021.
Where's that time gone? It has. But Van Jefferson, he might not even make the team. He's a camp body for me at the moment. He's wide receiver 7. You know what I mean?
So as you said before, look at last season's wide receivers 1 to 7, and now what wide receivers 1 to 7? It's a hell of a lot stronger now than it was last season. Yeah. So that's always a good sign. You know, we just need to plug and play, say, a true wide receiver 2 if we can get one. Either it's Aiyuk or either it's a guy in the draft or whatever. But it's I think numbers wise, it doesn't look bad. I think the worst guys did the Van Jeffersons, the Diami Browns. They're serviceable at times. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're serviceable players. So, I'm not worried about
to come in on injury rotation in a pinch. It's not too bad.
Exactly. Exactly. I'd like to say rather that than River Craycraft running in there, or the Robbie Chosens. You know what I mean? Just give me, if any of those guys even bring in Van Jefferson, it's better than those dudes. So, it's kind of, it's everything so far is an upgrade compared to what we had. So it's all good.
Yeah, I agree. And then we've got the other 3 signings that we haven't spoke about. Chris Paul's back. Obviously, his market must have dried up massively. I've seen, Spot Track saying he should get 15 million a year. I've seen 10 million a year, all sorts. He's back for about 4 mil, as you said, which is, I'm happy. I'm comfortable with that. Starting left guard, it's fine. Could we upgrade there? Possibly. Yeah,
He's got to be better in the run game.
He has.
He's solid in pass pro, but he's awful in the run game. Like, he's got to be so much better. That's where he's got to improve, man. If he wants to be a starting guard long term in the NFL, that's where he's going to have to really improve.
Jerome Ford, another running back brought in, and then another running back who's on a vet minimum, and then another one on the vet minimum coming back.
I can't believe he got in for his vet min. I think that's it's shrewd business stuff from maybe.
And then the final one back in was another running back. Jeremy McNichols is back. So that's the 4 running back room. So do I, especially as a third down pass catching back or on specials. He's a hell of a tackler. So for me, that is it. I think, why not? That's amazing. So we now have Rashad White, Jeremy McNichols, obviously Chris Rodriguez is gone, Bill and Ford is our 4 backs. Doesn't preclude us taking it back at 7, which I'm sure we'll get into. But let's get into the biggest thing that's making the chat go wild. And we completely agree with you. It's not that we've avoided it. It's the elephant in the room. We need to talk about it completely. We made some moves on the offensive line. We re-signed Nick Algretti. We re-signed your favourite Andrew Wiley. Nick Alshitty, you've got a lot to say about, which, I get that. Let's be real here, though, mate. There is a massive, massive hole at centre. I mean, you can't fully evaluate the offseason until it's fixed. But what would you do now to fix centre? Because there's centres out there in the draft, and now Sam Hecht is a great centre. You're going to struggle unless you have a second-round pick to pick him up. You're probably looking at in the mid-50s, even the late 40s for him. There's a lot out there. There's Farmer, I think he's called, Jake Farmer.
I'm a big fan of Logan Jones. I think
Logan Jones.
I think you can
probably get him around about the third, the 4th rounds. 71, you can probably draft a starting centre, I would say. Yeah. Or you look at the free agency centres that are still out there that are starters. Lloyd Cushenberry's still out there. Market value is $7 million a year. Graham Glasgow's still out there. I know he's old, injured. The only one that I look at here and think, I can cope with you as a starter and you haven't got a huge injury record is Ethan Pocic from the Cleveland Browns. He is still. Brock Hoffman as well is also out there. He's as well. He's got 3 years worth of experience, knows DQ as well. Is that someone who you would bring in? No, Brock Hoffman, that is from the Cowboys. But Pocic is the only real starting centre apart from Cushenberry that's out there. Pocic is with the Browns.
That's very good.
But he'd actually be an upgrade on
Algretti. Well, I suppose.
Well, not on Algretti, but on Badass. Biadish, losing Biadish is a big thing, which I completely understand, but it makes you look silly now. Unless I've seen Rod talking about it, I've seen Yam talking about it to Will in the chat, Scott as well, saying, "Look, are we going to Coleman into centre?" I don't think that's going to happen. I think Coleman's played better at left tackle.
I've read certain thoughts on that. That people talking about maybe bringing Coleman into centre, but that'd be I don't think that would suit him.
I think he's a left guard. I think he's a left guard.
I think the best. I think the best position he played was relief. I thought he played better at left tackle. I think Coleman's a solid left tackle.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he played left. He played good at left tackle, and obviously you've got a swing tackle in Trent Scott. Trent Scott's probably your right tackle back up. To be fair, on the offensive line, which in a pinch again. Wiley's also there. Is he swing guard? Is he just right side? Tackle and guard. Doesn't mind where he plays.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I get it. I know you're saying, and other people probably said it as well. Not everybody's O-line's excellent. I get it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's a passing league. You've got to have guys, man. You've got to have protection, real protection for the quarterback. And our keeper our quarterback just doesn't get it. He doesn't get that kind of fucking protection, real protection. Now, yes, we've got Tunsil, great, but we got okay guy in pass pro, but then you've got a guy who's really horrible in the run game, which is Chris Paul. We're talking left guard. Coleman's probably going to be, I say, a rotational piece between the two, probably back up left guard, back up left tackle. That's probably what Coleman's going to be right now. Allegretti is starting centre. I'm not being funny, mate. I'm literally having nightmares of Allegretti starting at centre. For week 1, I'm thinking, oh my God, mate, we're going to get blown up. We're just going to get fucking Miles Garrett running right down the middle. Never mind going around the edges, right through the middle, because Allegretti can't do shit, right? So I'm just terrified of the interior pressure that we're going to be seeing. And the pocket is breaking down right in front of JD. Every time he's got to roll out, and that's all it's going to be every time, running for his life. I can't be dealing with that again this year. We need a big upgrade at centre. We need a big upgrade. Now, I think Cushenberry is probably technically the best centre out there. However, injured. he got cut because of a failed physical. Basically, what happened was he ripped his Achilles 2 years ago, came back last season, but wasn't that good. His level dropped from like quite high to really bad, hence why he got cut. So technically, his Achilles is actually intact and stuff, but obviously his level dropped a lot, and that's the reason why they've got rid of him. So he's a red flag there. You don't want that. And then you've got, you've got Poach, which is probably technically the best one besides Cushenberry available. I don't think he's that good. I mean, he's better than Allegretti, sure, but it's not a wow factor. You know what I mean? So for me,
are you looking for a rookie to start?
I'm looking for the third round, mate. I'm looking for a starter centre in the third at 71. That's what I'm looking for one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few in there. It's a heavy centre draft actually. There's 3 or 4 that are in there that are pretty good.
I think there's 3 definite starters available there. I think, as you say, the one I'm trying to go in the second. I think the other guys will be third and fourth rounders.
Yeah.
I think third and fourth rounders. So I think at 71, I think we'd be able to get a starter. So that's why I'm all for it. I think there's going to be a centre there available for us at that point at 71. I just think we have to take who's the best centre available at that point. I really do. I think, it's too much of a hole. Like with other positions, you can go with need a wide receiver 2. Yeah, but we've got guys who can kind of fill it. We don't have guys who can kind of fill centre right now. We've got Allegretti.
You can't kind of fill centre. You can't do that.
Especially a guy like, with Allegretti starting there. You know what I mean? Like let's face it, the guy's been a career backup most of his career. And he has started games, yes, and he has started Super Bowl and all this, but that's only because of injuries. That he wasn't because he was a pure starter. You know what I mean? Like he's a backup. And backups might have a good game one game and then be god awful the next. And that's just what it is, because they're inconsistent. That's why the backups. That's why you need a starter. So you gotta find somebody, man.
Tim Towner put a question into us on this the exact topic. So Tim says, do you either either of you forecast Washington drafting a center at 71? I expect to use the majority, if not all, of our picks on defensive players. Wow. Okay. But there are 4 or 5 centers. Yeah, he said defense. But there are 4 or 5 centers that seem to be slotted in that pick at 71 range. And that's what we may pick up best player available. I think unless we get experienced vet, i.e. Lloyd Cushenberry, we need that to draft as a position of need. What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
both agree with you.
Yeah, he was agree with us. Yeah, Cushenberry's a no-go for me. So just because of this Achilles and his form dropped right off. So he's obviously got a problem there, and he failed his physical. That's another problem, So, yeah. So for me, it's got to be the draft. I just think you're better off getting one in the draft. I say that there's good centers available at a position that we need, and potentially at the pick we're at. So we haven't got to go up, or we haven't got to do anything stupid. Just sit there and wait and see what's left of the centers, because there still will be 2 good centers available at 71. I really do. And you just choose one of those. My favorite Logan Jones. I mean, there's a guy called Brailsford as well, playing for Bama.
Yeah, he's class. He won an award, didn't he? Brailsford.
And he can play guard and center, and so he's got the flex, he's got the versatility like you talk about, and blah 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 blah. So there's loads of different ways you can go, but I'd say those guys will potentially be available at 71. So, I mean, your guy Hecht, I think you mentioned, I don't think he'll be there.
Yeah, he's going to be in the 40s probably.
Yeah, he's probably be second rounder somewhere, probably mid to late second, and I think so. We'll be out the way for the third, fourth. Yeah, I'm
looking at it now. I'm looking at it now, and they reckon that Sam Hetch from Kansas City is going to be around 56. Parker Brailsford is slotted at around 73. The one from Alabama, as you said.
Logan Jones.
He is. Logan is all American honors. Logan Connor Lew at Auburn is 81. Logan Jones 1, 2, 3.
Really?
You've got Matt. Matt Gulbin. You've also got Jake Slaughter from Florida, who's very good.
I know.
The one I actually really, really do like that no one's talking about really is Trey Zune. He's called. Out of Texas A&M, he's very good as well. He's played a lot of guards, but he's also played a lot of center. And naturally, they said he's better fit at center, but he's massive, like really, really big boy. I think he's 6'6", 319.
It's a bit tall for a center, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
You're normally looking at around 6 foot to 6'2", something like that. You're looking at for a centre, the shorter guys, because
there's also a guy.
Higher chance of
there's also a guy here rated at 204, but I'm not sure if he's going to start or not. James Brockelmeyer from Miami. There's obviously he's been to the senior bowl. Steady in pass protection, generates movement in the run game, could rise up the board by the end of by the end of when we're getting towards the draft. His anchor was sturdy on one-on-ones, provided proficient. He's proficient at replacing his feet to reset his base, keeping his hip leverage against attempted counters. So again, but are you pushing it on a rookie center that you're probably drafting in the 5th, 6th round?
And this is why. I mean, don't forget we also had a guy who started at center who was a 4th or 5th rounder. We let him go because of injury eventually, but he survived a while. What was his name?
Yeah, do
you know yeah.
I do. Yeah. I do.
Why did you forget people's names? I'm awful with names, but I just remember guys.
I am really bad with names. Yeah, so that's exactly it. So he's 301 MD. Thank you for being here. He said Jake Slaughter will be the best one in the draft. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. So that's the Florida guy, isn't it?
Jake Slaughter. He's a Gates guy. Yeah. So I've got a slightly.
Biased outlook.
I do like it. Yeah, slightly biased outlook. I do like that's it. Chase Roulier. Thank you, Will. See, Will
Chase Roulier, thank you. Yeah, he was class as well. He's really good.
He was good. He was a 5th rounder. So those things can happen. It's just a case of, for me, I say, you don't really want the guy being a 5th rounder. He's going to be a genuine starter. But what you're looking for not just best pass protector. You're looking at the guy who can actually call the offensive line. Do you know what I mean? Pick up the protections, all those things, be the true leader and the vocal guy. Like, that's what Allegretti does a lot. And that's what he's actually good at, for one thing. If I don't like Allegretti, one thing he is good at, he is the guy who does all the protections. He's doing all this with his hands. He's shouting at our offensive line. As you center, that's what you need. You need that guy. You know what I mean? So, and I know Logan Jones does that. And I like Iowa offensive linemen. They do well. They produce good O-linemen. We have Brandon Scherf before from them. And, there's other guys, and they're known for quality offensive linemen. So, that's why I like Logan Jones. Ahead of even my guy Slaughter. Even though I think he's rated a bit low there, 123. Being honest with you, I think he would go a bit higher than that. But yeah, I mean, I say, Lou was decent. Slaughter, yes. Brailsford, Jones, any of those 4, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Honestly, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's 4 guys you can just pick off the top of your hand. So,
and if Sam Heck falls,
I'll take that. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't try and trade up to try and get a center. No, I mean, I'd rather say just stay at a guy who's a very good processor, who's very good at kind of calling out the protections and actually being solid enough. You can't just be good at pass pro. You've got to be good at the run game, and all that, and you've got to be at least have some lateral movement, lateral quickness to help with when the guards pull. You can help with stuff like that. So it's got to be, and that's why I like O-linemen from Iowa, because they are well trained. So
don't disagree with you. We'll talk a little bit about draft, about what you do, where we're getting at. I mean, obviously the needs going into, we've got a wide receiver 2 opposite Terry. We need a center, which we just talked about. We're not going to draft a center at 7. I get that. We need defensive depth moving forward. I mean, we could
there's still 2 solid holes still in the defense. Maybe even
cornerback.
3. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, best case scenario then. I mean, looking at the corners, we only got 3.
Yeah.
And that's the 3 we've got on books at the moment. You know what I mean? That's Amit Robertson, Trey Amos, and Mikey. And that's it. There's no other corners in this entire roster. So what do you do then based at 7? Are you going receiver? Are you going best player available, edge rusher, Caleb, if Sonny Styles is there, if Caleb Downs is there? Or are you going to go, you know what, we need to trade down if someone's willing to trade with you to pick up more picks, and maybe you pick up a Mansour Delane or a Gerald McCall, you know what I mean, as your starting corner. Problem you have got with all these receivers is, Scouts, I've looked at all these receivers, and all these receivers, especially someone like Jordan Tyson, have got horrendous injury records.
He has.
Makai Lemon, injured, ACL, ACL, PCL, MCL for Tyson. I mean, hamstrings falling off.
Yeah.
That is not what I want off a wide receiver. He could be a wide receiver one. Absolutely, he could be. But it's potential, and you're gambling on a potential.
I always think sometimes about DK Metcalf. Like in college, injury prone as hell. NFL, hardly missed a fucking game. Like, it's just like, and it's just crazy, like how that worked out. I mean, besides like a suspension even there or whatever, he hardly misses games, in this whole Seattle career anyway. But that was his biggest problem, wasn't it? Coming out of college, it was like, oh mate, the guy's a workout warrior. He looks amazing, but he's always injury prone, and then couldn't make it. And then comes the NFL, and he's been hardly injured, and he's been able to play most games. Tyson, though, I think he's got a big problem. Tyson, to say it isn't just he blew his knee out that one time. It's the other things that come along with it, the hamstrings. The hamstrings ones are so easy to redo again. You know what I mean? Especially when you're trying to go full out, full sprint. It's so easy to redo your hamstring. If you don't rehab them properly, they can be a nagging thing for the whole career.
So I'm reading it here. 2022 torn ACL, MCL, PCL all in the same knee. Hello, I have done that. It's not great.
It's not fun.
No, not at all. 2023 missed the season because of the knee injury. 2024 broken collarbone.
That's just
2025. I know. 2025 right and left hamstrings.
Probably overcompensating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That for me, I would say. I kind of pass on that. Can't take on the other hand.
Yeah, I think you got to swerve that. I really do. I mean, he probably is the best receiver. But there is a few guys that are solid, man. But I mean, would I say they are wide receiver ones? I mean,
no.
I think
it's a wide receiver 2 draft. This is
I genuinely believe that.
I think with what Jesse's been saying before, and I agree with what he was saying before. Shout out to Jesse on Bleeding Burgundy pod. He's saying next year's draft class for wide receivers miles better, hands down better than this.
It just depends what kind of offense Blau wants to run. You see, because I heard that he's more of a timing guy. He's more of like timing for the quarterback. It's all about timing, so like timing throws, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Throwing to spots rather than players, and so you got to rely on your receiver to get there if you're going to do that type of playing games. So, those type of play calls. Sorry. So it's kind of like where you're looking. Makai Lemon would be very good. I think he'd be very good for us. I think in the slot he'd be very good. I think Evan Stewart would be great for us as well. I think again another slot guy. He's probably the best separator in the class. Ridiculous quick burst. Evan Stewart, trust me, top. But again, would I call him a wide receiver 1? No, I wouldn't call him that. I'd call him. I think his potential is a wide receiver 2. I think at the start you might even start as a wide receiver 3, but I think his potential is a wide receiver 2. So Evan Stewart, I think he's pretty good. So I mean, I wouldn't be upset with that. But again, we'd have to trade down because he's probably going to go towards the end of the first, right? So maybe later or the start of the second at the very latest. But for me, I'm not looking at wide receiver in this draft. I'm not looking for it. Not a straight out wide receiver 2 look. So I'm not looking for, your Carnell Tates and he's solid as well. You know what I mean? But again, I wouldn't be wasting pick 7 on that. I really wouldn't. I think the most important and the glaring hole that we've not even talked about is free safety.
Really?
I think that's a big hole. I really do. I mean, who've you got there?
Quan.
Yeah.
Nick Cross.
Nick Cross is not a free safety.
He's a strong, but do you play Will Harris at free safety?
You don't want Nick Cross in ridiculous coverage, being like playing one high. That's not his game.
Do you put Will Harris there?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like Will Harris. I think he's average at best. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking for.
I don't think you can say that. I think because he was injured too much. I think Harris will be okay.
But okay is okay. I want great. So for me, looking at great,
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think
I'm still going Caleb Downs.
Okay. No,
this guy's going to be the brain of the defense. He's that cerebral. He will make everybody else look better just because he's there. Like he won't be the flash guy doing ridiculous, interceptions and all that shit. But he's the guy who makes everybody else play better. That makes the whole team play better on defense. He's that glue guy that you want on the DB end. That's what you want, and he can play free. Tell you, mate. Tell it. For me, if Downs is there, I'm going Downs. He'll make the biggest impact of any player that you can get.
As you said, and as I said to you a few weeks ago, I was extremely, extremely high on Caleb Downs, and I still am. Mm-hmm. I still think he's the best player in this entire draft class by miles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think it's close. People will argue and say Jeremiah Love. I agree with you, but what's more impactful? Is a running back more impactful than having a safety?
But I understand. Safety's not a position of like you shouldn't really draft a guy that high. But I think it's though when he's wanting it, I think these guys are. When you're looking at Downs, people are going to say, "Well, he's no Sean Taylor, or he's no he's the guy for the
Kyle Hamilton."
Yeah, Kyle Hamilton. Or he's not the other dude as well from the Chargers. I can't remember his name. The other Chargers guy. The safety over there who get paid a lot of money. He's not them guys. But the thing is, though, but what he is he's the brain. He's the brain of the defense. You need a brain. We haven't got one. Think about it.
Have we?
We haven't got a green dot. We haven't got a guy who organises the defense
properly. James, my God, Will, you're on fire.
We've got no communicators. We've got no real quality ones who can get everybody set instantly. It's a very intangible skill. Like Darren James, thank you, Will. So he knows all these guys. He should be on the show.
I just said he's on fire. We need to get in the spot. You know what I mean?
He's the beast, man. I'd say for me, Downs will make the biggest impact, but not in the way that you'd think. He wouldn't be the guy to say he won't be getting the 10 deception seasons. He won't be this and that the other guy, but he is going to be top draw. Trust me, and I think he would make our whole defense play a lot better, not just himself.
What about that? What do you think of that?
Wow. I kind of like the comparison actually. I kind of like the comparison. To be fair, Eric Berry.
Me too. I mean, this is a good shout by Scott, but I'm not 100% certain. Does he get Harrison Smith to come out of retirement? I mean, if you could.
Well, wouldn't if that's the case, wouldn't Minnesota still own him though?
I don't know. How the rights
you have to trade for him. That's what I'm trying to say. Because they wouldn't just release him. They probably hold his rights, wouldn't they?
I don't know how the rights thing works. It's interesting. I mean, like you said, there's glaring holes. Safety, okay, I agree with you. I understand that you want an upgrade or you want elite. I get it. But what
that'll make everybody else play better easy instantly. That'll make everybody else play better if he's playing free and you got Cross in front of him. That's strong. Honestly, man, that's nice. That's a nice. And Amos on one side. Oh, you know what I mean? It's looking nice there. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, we have to get corner. Do you know what I mean? It's corner that we need at some point. I'm not saying take corner at 7. I'm saying if you want to trade back and we need to fill holes and you want to get a center and you want to, go right a little bit further back, you can't probably go past 12 because Dallas is very high on Mansour Delane. And that's kind of the guy I would look at in the first round and say that's kind of where we are. Because edge is we've got edge rushers now. What was a weakness is now almost a strength. If David Bailey's there, do you double up and say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to take another edge, because the problem with edges, if you take edges and they can get to the quarterback, it makes everyone on the back end look okay anyway. Gives them more time. So it's a double-edged sword.
I just think the way Jones is going to play the defensive system. We mentioned the 3-4 hybrid, but he does a lot of disguise looks, a lot of disguises, which can always confuse your own defense as well, confuse your own players. I mean, but if you've got a true kind of, I should say, I call him a cerebral guy on the back end there, you can just get it all set up, all sorted in the field before each play, make it run smooth. The defense will instantly play a hell of a lot better, even without better edge rushes. That makes sense, because we'll be able to stick to our players a little bit better, but be able to kind of keep hold of the tight end in the slot or whatever we're trying to hold on to. We can make that work. You know what I mean? We get that extra second time on the back end that the QB's got to hold of that extra second long, and then that's where the edges come in and take it away as well. So that's the reason why it works in synergy. You know what I mean? But I get your point though. Better edge, quicker to the quarterback. I understand that gives less time for the DBs to hold on to the receivers and stuff like that. I get that too. But for me, it's I just think Downs makes a bigger difference. I really do.
I agree. Will says Dolphins take Delane before he gets to Dallas, possibly, but I even think the Bengals might have a look at him at 10.
Dolphins need a lot.
I really do.
Anywhere Dolphins, because they're just fire selling everybody, aren't they? So I mean, they just got rid of Waddle, so they're looking for a receiver as well. So they might even look at receiver before taking Delane. So there's a lot of dudes that they've got rid of. So
that might be where it goes to. Who knows? I'm just having
a
quick look.
That. He said he hasn't retired yet. So about Tim Harrison Smith. He hasn't retired. Yeah, his contract's up. So why not?
So Scott G, he's in our chat now, and he's also put a question in. First off, I've got to say to him, apologies. I didn't read your third question last week, so I must own up on that and say, yeah, that's it. So he says, what draft analysis topic will be overanalyzed between now and the draft? It's probably what we're doing at 7. Who's doing what, when, how? Where there's so many names, it's ridiculous. Then he says, do you think Washington UK fan, which is Andy Burrows, shout out to the Bunker as well. If you're not subscribed to them, go and have a look at our ugly mugs on the Bunker. He said, do you think he'll get the name right that will test his pronunciation skills on the draft night? If yes, do you think he'll get it right? So do you think he'll get it right then?
I mean, to be fair, can you get Caleb Downs wrong if he does first?
He won't do first. Obviously, he's going to be a 7.
But you get Connor Lou wrong. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
Caden Curry, edge rusher. You know what I mean? It'll be all right.
Yeah,
but not
you
like
want the easiest guy ever, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Easiest guy ever.
You do not want a name that you just can't pronounce. That is horrendous. Honestly, I've been there. I know what it's like. I even have to read it 4 times myself before I came out of the, out on stage. Medrano. Can I pronounce that? Yes, I can. And the way they phonetically spell it out, as you can probably see up here, it's it is spelt Medrano for you, so you know exactly who it is. So I can confidently say that it's not as bad as you think it is, but it's whether he shits himself live on stage in front of 300,000 people.
Yeah, it takes a lot.
That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah,
it takes sounds like stand there in front of everyone.
Big deep breath. Don't forget to shout out the podcast. We'll be there.
Yes, Rod. Downs for me, please. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed, mate. I actually do. I really rate him. I like Styles, but I just think Styles will be gone. Yeah, I think the Giants pick Styles up.
Yeah, I agree. I do think Giants.
I think his draft stock's just gone. I mean, Harbaugh wants that middle linebacker. He always has.
Someone mentioned earlier up on the chat about your boy, David Bailey dropping because of what, character issues or something. Where's that?
I haven't heard that.
No, I've not heard it myself. I just read it on the chat. I think it was a bit higher up.
Might be interesting, yeah. So we're going to get into our fan questions then, mate, while you're searching for that. Tim Towner, he's put another question. He said, I saw a mock and want your feedback. We are still picking 7, and the only defensive player taken before is Sonny Styles at 2 to the New York Jets. And then Caleb Downs at 6 to Cleveland. So that leaves us 7 with a choice between Reese, Bailey, Bain. Who would you choose? The offensive players that were taken were Mendoza, Muaga, I think is how you pronounce his name, tackle, Love, and Carnell Tate. Would you take another player, or are you trading back? Or are you sticking at 7, or are you taking Reese, Bailey, or Ruben Bain?
And I have to go those. Or trade down. Can't go down. Down's gone.
Downs is gone. Yeah, Downs went to New York. Did
you just take that off from Will?
Yeah, I did read that. He said he's dropping for Bailey slapped a cameraman in the face walking off the field after a game at Stanford 2 years ago.
2 years ago? Come on, man. Yeah. I mean,
then again, Tunsil smoking pot and look at him.
Yeah, with his gas mask.
First 30 million offensive lineman. I'm not concerned about that. It's about the interview, what they've done with him at the draft. He'll be, no doubt about it, he'll be in for a top 30 visit. So, yeah,
it'll be asking your question there, mate. Answering the question. It depends what you're looking for. You know, if you're looking for a true edge guy, outside linebacker type, then you probably go Bailey. But but with Reese can play both
inside
linebacker, or linebacker, and he can play edge at good levels. At good levels, though, not just like, we can play there. You know what I mean? Like, anyone can play anywhere, but can you play it well? You know, that's different. You know, and so Reese is more versatile. So you probably get away with better disguised looks on the Jones defense. So I think I'd probably go Reese if I had to pick one of them.
Yeah, I'd pick Bailey if I've got to pick them. But ideally, I'm trading back out of that. I honestly am, because I need to pick up more. I'm going to sit there at about 10, maybe 12 if I can, and pick up a second or another third, see what we can do further down the line, because we need to fill holes here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing as well. It's like, yeah, of course.
Partners, that's it. You need someone. It takes two to tango. You know what I mean? You need someone else to come up. What are you trading up for? What are you trading for?
That's what I'm saying. If Love's gone, and Downs is gone, and Styles is gone, then who's going to come up for one of these dudes? You see what I mean? Like, it's going to be quite. I mean, you might see someone who might try and come up for Bailey potentially, but it's quite a rare thing, like, to kind of come up for an edge guy. Listen, really,
I think if you come in for an edge guy, if you're coming up for an edge guy and you're going to go, I want to trade back, and someone's calling us at 7, it's going to be a team in the 20s, and I ain't doing that. I'm not trading that far back.
No, I'm sorry. You don't need your corners then as well. You know what I
mean? Yeah, exactly. You need to be in the top 15 to make sure you can get a good graded player, a blue chipper, if you want, for want of a better term. I don't want to be left with the dregs of a defensive tackle or offensive lineman or Kenyon Sadiq. And it's no offense to Kenyon Sadiq. I think he's going to be a great tight end in the league. That's not what I want.
You don't need him now, you don't need him now.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So, yeah, Tim, thank you for your question. It's one of them, isn't it? Let's wrap it up. Cheers, Ricardo. Thank you for that. Don't forget, everybody, please like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. There's a hype button now on YouTube. Go and have a look at that as well if you want to push that. What that does is it pushes the algorithm out. And shout out to the chat and shout out to Yam. And we'll just read Yam's little point here. He says, I just wouldn't want to trade back unless it's at least 8 and 10, nowhere beyond 10. We need talent, but sticking at 7 and taking whoever is left on the team's big board is the play. Yeah, it is. It's best player available, isn't it? If we're staying at 7, I do agree with you. I don't really want
and that's the good thing about what we've done in free agency, is that we've actually been able to go genuinely best player available, and it won't hurt us too much, wherever way we go. That's a great thing. That's a great thing to be able to do. Of course, I always look at best player available in a position of need. That's what I'm always looking for. Especially the kind of the first, second, third round. After that, I'm looking for scheme fit guys. Even though they might be big names or whatever, I'm looking for scheme fit guys after that. But normally the first 3 rounds, I'm always looking for that kind of best player available in a position of need.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Exactly. You're exactly right. Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong, yeah. Let's wrap it up then, Scouse. Obviously, for me, it feels like a team that we're being run competently now, building depth. We're not necessarily chasing the headlines, paying big money for dudes who we didn't need to pay for. Still missing a few pieces, as we'll get into as the off season rolls on. We'll still be every Thursday, trying to keep the mic rolling as we do. Just want to shout out to everybody in the chat and shout out to everybody who watched the last stream. That was our second highest stream ever. Numbers wise, so we cannot thank you enough for doing that, for pushing this algorithm. We don't know if it's just because we're still we're only 4 hours behind the US times, and it's probably a bit easier when it's 5 p.m. for you guys coming home that side of the pond. But we really appreciate everybody who has done that. So please don't forget to do the like, subscribe, hype, all that sort of thing. If you push the hype button on there, it pushes the algorithm over to new people.
I need to start saying something like this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it is exactly that. You're probably right about that. Let us know what you think. Comment in the bottom. Let us know what you think of the episode. Let us know what you would do at 7. Are we building something real, or are we just playing it too safe? And we will catch you on the next episode. Thanks everybody for being here, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye.